Hi guys, so in this video we're going to be talking about panels. Panels are our individual frames or single drawings in a multiple panel sequence of our comic strip or comic book. So there should be multiple panels for one page of a comic book or for a comic strip. So first we're going to talk about how we don't want to set up our panels. This is a good example of what we don't want to do. This is also another good example of what we don't want to do. This format's very grid-like. All of the squares, rectangles are the same size and the same shape. It's pretty boring to look at. And you can actually use the panels to help tell your story and to help grab the reader's attention. And in this example, that's just not happening. So I'm going to show you guys how you do want to create your panels. I already showed you one example with the blue paper. Here's another example, and I'll show the other one again. So this is just using squares or rectangles. But by switching up the size, it adds more variety to your story. And I'll talk a little bit about how we can use the panel sizes to help tell our story. So, for example, in these smaller panels, I would put parts of your story that are just filler information. They're not a climax, they're not something huge that is happening in your story. You don't want to use these to grab attention. You want to use the big ones to grab attention and the big ones for dramatic effect. So if there's a climax in your story, you want to put it here, probably if it's on this page. This page shows a good example of really drawing attention to one part of your story. So here is where you would put the climax in this page, in this panel right here, because it's so large. Your eye, the eye of the reader is automatically drawn to this panel right here before these other ones. So with that being said, if you're trying to hide something in your story so that it doesn't jump out at the reader, then you want to put it into one of these smaller panels, one of these panels. So other than size, we can also mix up shape. So just like in this one where I put a circle here to grab attention, we can also more consistently mix up the shapes that we're using. So in this one, we have a lot more shapes than in the last example, but there's a good variation between rectangles, squares, and ovals. These different shapes can help tell certain parts of your story as well. If it's zooming in on somebody's face, I like to use a circle because a circle mimics the shape of their face. And it just kind of hones in more on the subject and draws attention more to your subject matter. And then another example of things that we can do with these panels would be, let's say we have one page right here and one page right here. And we want to have a really dramatic effect, okay? What we can do to have a really dramatic effect, like I said, this will just be kind of like a drawing example of it, is you have these regular panels where you just have filler information in your story, and then boom, you want to really grab the reader's attention. Another thing you can do is, other than using the size of your panel, using the shape of your panel, the shape being different than the other shapes in the sequence, as you can really zoom in on your subject. So for example, in this, we're just seeing teeth. So if you have a rabid dog or a mean character that you're using, you might want to show something about them really up close to really communicate to your readers that this is a dangerous character, or that this is a big character in your story. It's a good way to just draw extra attention to a main character by zooming in on that character. Okay, so I think that is, well, let's add one more thing. And I don't know if your teacher will want you guys to do this or not, or use this. But maybe if you guys are making some graphic novels on your own time, you can consider using one panel on one page. So this is my page of my graphic novel, and this is my one panel. You guys may have seen this done in comic strips in your newspaper, if you ever look at those. Sometimes they will just have one panel in the comic strip. And in this panel, you can see everything that's going on. That is usually the purpose for having one large panel. So there might be a character over here doing something. Maybe he's juggling, right? Okay. But we also want to show another character's reaction to what is happening in the same panel at the same time. And being able to show these things at the same time, if that's something you want to do, then using one panel can be really helpful in an instance like this. And so I just wanted to bring that up as an option for you guys as well, whether you can use it in this project or at home on your own time. So thank you guys for listening, and that is all I have on panels.